This is our video on comparing an agent and assessing how good an agent and an AI platform is good at assisting us in Bible study. What is an agent, you might ask? An agent is an AI platform. You give it specific instructions, specific sources. In the first video of this whole series, you'll see we design the instructions and whatnot for our agent. And we started the whole series. We were going to compare CoPilot, ChatGPT, Claude, a Claude agent, and ultimately we're comparing against Logos Bible Study Assistant. I like Logos. I think the assistant's good. I'm just curious if you can replicate that with your own agent. I'm just curious. And along the way, we found this LDSBot that somehow got into the rankings and somehow beat CoPilot. I don't understand how that happens. It just cited a lot of sources for a lot of stuff, even if it was saying goofy things. It cited a lot of sources. So if your sources is your concern, LDSBot, great. But if your validity of answers is your main concern, maybe not. Anyway, this video we are going to be setting up that agent that we talked about. Okay, here's our agent stuff. We asked I think we asked Claude to give us an agent, and it set it up. It actually already designed it. I forgot about that. And I was going to add, anyway. So, let's delete that. We have our agent set up in Claude already. And I think I set it up because I gave it the instructions and then it said type them here. So I think, I don't need it on my code base. I think within here, yeah, this is my agent. So we're going to try to use it. If this doesn't, I'm thinking this will work. If it doesn't, maybe we scrap this video idea. But, all right, our assessment is, again, it's off of 15 questions, 4 categories. We give it a number answer. I'm doing my best to make this scientific, but I'm human and I have feelings and subjectivity, so no guarantees here. I am also not Mormon, so I did not really want or intend for it to beat. No. The agent had an error when I asked the question. See if it works. Oh, dude, it's typing in the entire instructions. That is thunder, and not my cat thunder. That is actual thunder. There are storms rolling through. I'm going to turn my phone volume on. My husband is out storm chasing, and if there is actually a tornado, because there's already a watch, I would like to know. Okay. Good explanation. Yes, sources. The most defensible conclusion. Okay. I appreciate that. Okay. Great explanation. Rating of sources, good sources. Validity of sources, good. Explanation, great. Validity of answer, great. I'm actually just going to put it at like 8. And let's just, I think I was a little disappointed. It could have added a little. It was pretty good. It was pretty good with the sources, but when you're giving so many assertions, I would like more sources, like articles that people have written, not just the church fathers. Maybe I just defined the agent wrong. I don't know. Give me your feedback on what you think I did wrong. If I do that. Oh, nice. It does it every time. I just have to scroll up every time though, but okay, okay. Good use of sources. Good use of sources. You quoted people but not sources. Survey argue strongly for that. It really stood on it, didn't it? I like that it says here's why it stands out above the rest. Thank you. Okay. I like that. I like that. Doing good work here. Number of sources. I felt I was happy with those. I don't want to give it perfect on each because there's also like times where it asserts things and it didn't give a source. I stake my scholarly reputation on. We told it to do that, though. We told it to make it something um, it would, um, that would stand up to like other. Am I staying with? Am I comfortable with trained theologian would review this? So it's doing that. It's just funny to read it. I don't know. I think these are all really good sources. It didn't really miss. They could have added a quote here. Like, there's a couple places where it's not perfect, so I'm gonna leave it at 8. Explanation of the answer was great. Again, good answer. Good answer. I don't know. I feel like I can give it a 9. That was a good answer. That was a really good answer. I don't know why the last one wasn't. I think these are all good answers. I think it's a really good answer. I'm sorry. I think that last one was a good answer too. I feel bad writing it all 9. Validity of answer. But it did exactly what I asked it. Exactly what I wanted. I would feel bad if I rated this better than the Logos Bible study tool. I don't like that I have to go up here each time. That's kind of unfortunate. You could essentially do this in any chat. This isn't when you build an agent, usually you give them the instructions and then they do all these things and you aren't, which technically I gave it the instructions and I just type in that one chat box and I click send. But it's just doing work for me. Like I could also just type the instructions and everything that every prompt that I give any bot and it would do this, I think. Okay. Could have used citations for this. I'm kind of disappointed that you didn't. The same phrase is used of animals. So the animals have souls, because the Mormons just told me that it meant soul. Not a lot of. It's quoting the Bible, but it's not quoting like outside stuff. Here, this is a good quote. That's good. This is the first one that's explained like how we got the trichotomy and dichotomy, I think. This is what all the other ones were saying. That is most. Good sources, really good source citing. I like the amount of sources this thing has. I'm gonna put it at 7, though. There were a couple of areas where it was making strong claims, but it could have used more sources. And then explanation of answer felt pretty good. I don't know how I feel about the holistic thing. It just feels weird. I don't know. I'm gonna get a little tired of scrolling to the top. I could just ask it to like rebuild it down here and then I wouldn't have to scroll, but I'm gonna ask it in a second to do something. What did we ask? Okay. I like that it actually puts the scripture here. That's super nice. Something that General Claude did not do. I don't know that any of the LDSBot did. The LDSBot did. It's a good amount of quotes in here. You could have quoted some of these people, maybe. Good explanation. I actually had fun reading that. Sources. I'm gonna give it an 8. There were some words that it was like, what, I'm trying to piece together what you're saying, but the answer seems really valid. Okay. I'm gonna see if I can redesign it so that it keeps popping below. That way I don't have to scroll up. We might break something, I don't know. Let's see what it says. Sorry, I shook the whole desk when I did that. I want you to respond and then put the input down. Can you make it dynamic? That's really what I'm asking, which is kind of asking a lot. But I'm thinking you can do it. You answer. Oh, we're gonna get some thunder. That was a big flash of lightning. Moving the input down. Let's see if that works. All right. Work through it. I took a brief intermission. Divine sovereignty and human responsibility. So I couldn't remember what I asked. Good quotes. I like that it quotes whole scripture here. Oh, in both consecutive sentences. Which I actually have heard my pastor go here when he talks on this subject, so that's encouraging. It's encouraging to see on the agent side that it went to the same place that the pastor did. Compatibilist framework. Like, you could have quoted someone here. Who are the critics? Who are the Reformed theologians? Oh, it actually picked the autonomy. That's interesting. Ricky is done eating dinner, so she is hanging out and walking all over the place. Hi, buddy. Interesting. I don't know what I thought it would pick, but that's interesting. Agent sources. That was kind of a disappointing one, source-wise. It gave a lot of sources, but yeah, that was fine. Explanation of answer. I think that was pretty good. Validity of answer, I'm gonna give it that. I don't want to make this perfect. It's not perfect. Did it pop the chat down? It did not. The chat box. Yeah, scratch that. Okay. I don't. I'll just scroll up. Because I might be doing something wrong. I just don't know how to make widgets or agents in Claude. You gotta explain why you can. Okay. All the other ones I had issues with, except for the generic Claude, because it just would quote this passage and one from Luke. Here. I really liked how generic Claude answered this. It brought up that both of these, God and Jesus answering, show a framework of like divine intervention and understanding. But it didn't even do that in this agent, so that's disappointing. And we have this whole thing, you haven't cited anything. You quote stuff here. Hi, Ricky. Okay, we can't do that. I can't see my screen anymore. I love my cat, but she's goofy. Explanation I felt was lacking on this one. The validity of answer was fine. Explanation I felt was lacking. Sources, that's okay. It's much better consistently than I think Claude was just in general with sources. Yeah. But let me check that real quick. Not about a tornado. Okay. Keep chugging along. Scroll up to my chat box. And I think ultimately, I think if you typed in the instructions that we have into any of the three into an agent, I think it would give you a reasonably similar output. Obviously, we rated ChatGPT and Claude above CoPilot, so maybe you go with one of their agents. But I think if you use the instructions we have in any of them, it will give you the same level of responses that we're getting here. So I don't think it's necessarily a fail. And you also can make a whole API thing. I just didn't want to deal with that. I just wanted to get this. This video is already taking lots of time as I sift through, ask 15 questions to each one of these bots, try to assess it, try to mentally engage. It's a lot of mental stuff. So I didn't want to like program an API and all that stuff. I think that's doable. It's very doable now that we have AI to help us with programming stuff. So all of that is very doable. You could make this like this right now. It's obviously clunky because I'm scrolling up, typing, whatever. But these instructions I think would work across any AI platform. I don't think Claude is the best agent or chat. I think ultimately like their platforms all process similarly. I think the different outputs that we got is based off of different assumptions that the different platforms made about how to respond and what I'm asking for. I just wanted to preface that because it is really clunky, but I think this test is mostly just testing. Sorry, my cat keeps walking around. I think this test is mostly just trying to see what an agent could do. And an agent doesn't have to be this clunky thing that I'm doing. You could do it in CoPilot. You could do it in chat. You could make your own API thing that Claude was trying to talk about. I just didn't want to. So this is simpler for the test that we're trying to run. I just wanted to give that caveat. Because right now it's really clunky. I would never, I guess I can't say never. I could always just have this chat open. You could build a project. Anyway, that's a different. I have ideas, but this is what we're working with now. Like, why didn't you quote the work that he said that in, or a work that he said that in? You know? Good scripture quotes, great. No quotes here. Justify, great. You didn't really quote the works that they're talking about. So that's kind of a lacking quote. Like, you could give works that they have. I found that really lacking. You could have quoted works with that one. You didn't quote any works, really. Reading of sources, 7. Explanation was fine, and the validity of answer was totally fine. That's a good answer. Oh, I almost deleted the chat. That would be so bad. It keeps popping them up here. That's funny. You can make a project. I have a question for it. Is there a way? Let's see what it says about projects. Let's see how this works. I know we're jumping ship. I know we're jumping ship. But I think it's still typing. I know we're jumping ship mid-test, which maybe is dumb. But I think it'll be easier than scrolling up. I just think projects are supposed to be Claude's way of making agents. Kind of. I don't know. This might be a bad idea. We can probably tell after the first prompt if it's gonna be able to, if it's doing what we want it to do. I don't want follow-up questions. New project. Bible study assistant. Oh, should we just make it called a Christian bot? Oh, did it run out of space? Did I run out of characters? I think I ran out of. No, I didn't. Let's just see what happens when we type this question in now, okay? We copied 9. Let's just see. Okay. Hi, Thunder. Hi, buddy. Oh, Ricky doesn't like it when I talk to him. They're still adjusting to one another. Good quotations, I think. It didn't really give me a conclusion, did it? I guess it's a comparison. So far, how do we feel with it? That was a bad question to assess it on, but I think it gave good sources. Vicky, you've got to get your rear end off my mouse. Good sources. I'm actually going to give it 9. It gave us primary sources. Explanation of answers. I feel like it explained it reasonably well. Probably could have. This is a hard question to do wrong, I think. Okay, we'll see on this next one. So with the project, you can just go to project, and then there you go. I don't know if you can see him over there. I'm going to turn the whole screen. Maybe you can see him. Hopefully I didn't jack up the framing too bad. Okay. You could have explained this a little better. Okay, you explained it. You didn't quote their works of where they do that, though. So we're missing some citations there. I'm gonna say 7. That's fine. Explanation of answer. I felt that was pretty good. And I actually like the answer better than any of the other. Because I like that it's a whole verse that has so much doctrine in it, and it answered it like fully, like, okay, it's real concern of Paul, but disagrees on this doctrine. That was a really good answer. And I am still like re-clicking each time, but I can just go back here, I think, yeah, and make new conversations. And then you can go back and reference them. And it learns from the previous conversations, but like each day it refreshes and learns from the conversations. Like right now, if I asked it about another one, it wouldn't know what I was talking about. And I only know that because I've dealt with that. I've asked it, I already told you this, and it didn't know. So we are free from worry of it learning what we're trying to do over time, and I'm kind of manipulating to that. And if I wanted to get more details, I suppose I could use Opus, but I'm just going to stick with Sonnet. Hi, Ricky. So far, no. 1 Corinthians 7:9. Oh, I did it down here. Actually, I really like this. From Ocean. Okay. I wish it would have used more outside sources here to explain this. I think it's a really good explanation. Sources is still a 7. It's giving good, like, scripture sources, but it's just not quoting outside stuff. So it's like, explanation of answer was good. Yeah, it's fine. She is making biscuits on my lap so that she can sit down. One of the most pastorally difficult questions in the Christian life. You didn't quote anything for this. Why would you have 2 points and only have a citation for one of them? It makes the other point feel like it's not valid and not worth having. You could easily quote, "Don't let any root of bitterness grow." That's a passage in the Bible. It's a pattern we see, but how do we know that that's a pattern we should follow? Good explanation, lacking sources. It's an okay explanation, actually. I like that it's doing the summaries. That's really nice. Validity of answer. Yeah, it's a valid answer. Explanation, felt was lacking. I felt sources was pretty lacking in this. I got him a new toy at PetSmart today. He likes feathers a lot. I'm talking about my cat Thunder. I'll try to get a picture of him, and then I can post it later. But anyway, okay. Distractions. We already did that. It's really likes pulling off the one of the most difficult, one of the most debated, one of the most. It's dynamic. Okay, it has. It doesn't really quote works by them though. Disappointing. Let's take a look. I'm fine assessing it like this. It's not giving me the amount of resources I would like. It did a couple times in the chat, but it feels like it's gone a little bit downhill since then. Yeah, they're fine. Explanation was fine. Validity of answer is 8. What instructions do we give it? Okay. Response format. Yeah, dude, it's not doing that. I guess authors. I wish they gave more actual sources. That would be nice. We all ready for that Logos Bible Study Assist to get 9 in every single category for the sources? That would be pretty neat. I don't understand why it doesn't quote outside sources for this, unless it's just saying these authors feel that way. You had an opportunity to quote someone's book, you know? There we go. There we go. Sources, we'll give it an 8. Let's say the explanation of the answer was pretty good. This, I don't think it answered the full question because we asked not just for it to tell us how to deal with it in a sense, but to make a conclusion on the scholarly arguments on it. So, I guess it did that. This is a hard one because I tell it to do something. I don't just ask it a question. I tell it to do something. Prove. 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 Prove it. Didn't quote any work for this. Or any works for this. I think that's a good answer. Good answer, good answer. You lacked a lot of sources, though. Good explanation, I think. Valid answer. Last question for our agent here. These are a lot of scripture quotations. I like that. Okay, there you go. Why didn't we quote what we're getting this from? Like, this one says in his first apology against heresies. Oh, another chart. It already made this chart for us in the normal chat. We can click on them. This is pretty neat. Ah, love a good chart. I need to make a specific like image and song when a chart comes on. Quotations were actually pretty good here. That was pretty good. I might give it a 9. 9. Explanation was great. Good answer. Not perfect, but the highest score so far. Claude got pretty close without all of that, but it got even better. So 484 out of 540. Will the Logos Bible Study Assistant beat it? Stay tuned for the next video. We will find out.